Right. We said about this, you know, the loss in midweek against Newcastle in the League Cup. You said it earlier, Jay, so I think, Craig, you said it. Everything will be forgotten if, and it's a massive if, we beat Manchester United, not because of where they are in the league, not because of their situation. We haven't beaten Manchester United at Old Trafford in the Premier League, or I think just in general, since over 10 years. That record just blows my mind, given that I think over the last 10 years, both teams have had their ups and downs, but to not have won there, Quaku, for 10 years blows my mind.
It just doesn't really make sense. One of those anomalies. And we were talking about it before the show started, about how we were so good against Manchester United back in the day. We always used to get results against them in important games. But yeah, the last 10 years has been very, very difficult and tough sledding against Man United. Did get a draw there last season. Cole Palmer scored. And over those 2 games against Manchester United, Cole Palmer scored 4 goals, including the memorable hat-trick at Stamford Bridge. And so I expect him to turn up against a team that he apparently grew up supporting. And so I'm not worried about that. What we do have to concern ourselves with a little bit is new manager bounce, because that's a real thing. It is a real thing. And if it's Manchester United under Erik ten Hag, I'll book it right now. I'll say we're winning against Man United. Manchester United under maybe a Ruud van Nistelrooy or a Ruben Amorim, depends on how quickly they get the deal done. I think it's a slightly different complexion on the game. I do expect us to go there and win, but Old Trafford's not been a happy hunting ground for Chelsea for the last 10 years.
Reports like today, at the time of recording, are suggesting that Ruben Amorim, like, it's all done, but he's not going to take charge until the next international break because of obviously his contract with Sporting. So is it, Jason, a new manager bounce? I know obviously they got a big win in the League Cup against Leicester, but when I looked at that Leicester side, I was like, well, they're playing their kids. They're not taking that seriously. So is there an element of a new manager bounce, even though they won't have a new manager?
I think what people talk about a new manager bounce. I think there's also the old manager going bounce, because but people forget that someone. So if most of the team, and I've watched Manchester United play, as we all have, right? They're not a happy team. The fact that he has gone, I think, elevates everyone around the ground. Personally, I think it. So I'm not so convinced that Ruud van Nistelrooy is the next coming because of what happened against Leicester in the Carabao Cup. But I think the fact that he has gone, I think, frees them up a little bit, because they were a terrible side to watch. There were games I saw in the last 18 months under Ten Hag where they were terrible. They stunk every stadium out. Terrible. Yet they've got good players. And I think we've got to remember that. They still have good players that are underperforming. This is not going to be... It wasn't going to be easy under Ten Hag. It has made it harder, no question in my mind, because he's gone and the players now want to impress the new manager. It's going to be a tough game. But I'm taking us. Our away form this season is good. I know we got beat away at Liverpool, could have taken something. First half against Wolves, less so, but second half, West Ham. You look at the away games we travel well because of the way that we play, and there's a freedom about the way we play. I'll be interested to see exactly how they line up. What are they? Do they do? I mean, there's players like Rashford, right? Who plays in the midfield? What do they do with that? There's a lot, whether it's Ruud or whether it's going to be Amorim, what they do. As far as I'm concerned, if we turn up and we bring our A game, and we got Reece playing, we got Caicedo playing, we got Jackson playing, we got Palmer playing, and our best team turns up and plays on the day, we won't lose. We will not lose.
I mean, I know everything Jason's just said. Like, when you look at those two teams, even with this new manager bounce or whatever bounce this is, we have, like, there's almost no excuse on my part. There's no excuse to not beat them, given the way we're playing, our form, especially in the league, especially our away form, that this has to be the game. And I actually believe if we don't beat them at Old Trafford this Sunday, we never will again.
Yeah.
Liv, I love that. Never will again.
Never will again.
It's so annoying. It's actually...
Yeah, I know.
But it's so frustrating because there's been so many games. There's been so many games where we've played them at Old Trafford and I thought, yes, coming into this, we're going to beat them.
But point at Old Trafford's never a bad point.
I don't want to point at Old Trafford. I'm not taking a point at Old Trafford.
Right now...
No.
Look, right now, who's the better team? The league will tell you that. But you've got to accept that Manchester, that stadium will be rocking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Ten Hag has gone. Yeah. Most fans that I speak to on talkSPORT, most Man United fans, are happy he's gone. Yeah. The players will be happy. There will be...
something.
There'll be that off their shoulders, no question.
It sounds trivial as well, and I get made fun of for bringing this up as a point. But where the clocks have changed, right? And it's 4:30 on a Sunday. It's under the lights at Old Trafford. It's a different complex.
I like what you're doing here. I like this, Craig.
It's under the lights.
And you got the yellow ball as well,
yeah,
right?
The yellow ball. It's something
It's nice.
It's something a bit different. And you're right. We have to contend with that. Old Trafford. Say it's in March or April and it's sunny and it's 4:30 and they're playing terrible football. I expect us to go there and roll them over. But under the lights, it is going to be rocking. So the players, for the first time, will have to maybe temper that and just calm the game down because we know how electric we are when we go forward. But I have no doubt about it. If we're on our A game and they're on their A game, we should beat them. I don't see a path to victory for them. And where I see their major flaws being is in midfield. Midfield, because I think it's probably going to be Ugarte and Casemiro because Menu's out. Lavia and Caicedo, I think, outmanned them, and they should be able to deal with them. And then going forward, I'm not worried about us scoring goals. We will always score goals with our starting front players. But defensively is where our issues are. And we seem to always give away a silly goal. And that's where our problems lie. If we can just eliminate that and go to Old Trafford and do our jobs and concentrate under the lights at Old Trafford, there's no reason why we shouldn't get 3 points.
On Sunday, the atmosphere, it'll be crackling.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I can't wait as well. I can't go, which is very annoying. But we never win in Manchester, so maybe Sunday is the day. Obviously, with Ruben Amorim coming in, he was a manager that's been linked to the Premier League before. Do you think there's only 6 points between Chelsea and Manchester United in the league? So it's not much in the grand scheme of things with however many games there was left. Exactly. Are they a top 4 threat then? When you look at those, you've got your Spurs, Villa, Newcastle, us, are probably the 4 teams that are looking around that 4th spot. Are Man United the 5th?
I don't think so, but the reality is there's only 9 games in, and there's so many more points to be grabbed. We've seen what happened when a manager can come in, Thomas Tuchel, when he took over, won the Champions League, got to an FA Cup final. The things can change.
Yeah.
I think, talking about United, I think what Amorim's going to do, he plays a 3 at the back. He's quite rigid in the way that he plays. How does he square that? Who plays on the wing backs? That's what he's got to sort out. But I don't think we can write them off for top 4. But if the odds will tell you they're probably because there's too much traffic. There's too many good teams. Spurs, Villa, us, Brighton. Right now they're not better than those 4. So you have to say Europa League probably is the best chance right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. And because in the Premier League, remember back in the day, it was a big 4. Right now, there's a set big 3. And Arsenal, Man City and Liverpool occupy those spaces. So you've got about 4 or 5 teams battling out for one spot. And we'll see how the coefficient works, whether 5th gets you into the Champions League. But we're all fighting for that top 4. I think for Manchester United, in terms of their poor start to the season, it'll be a bit too much. And they'll look at the Europa League, look at the teams in their group, and they'll feel like they should win it. It's either them or Spurs, really, in terms of the strongest teams in that competition. But what Amorim will do is he'll change the outlook. And a lot of these players that we look at and say, oh, they're poor, all of a sudden, in a different view, be like, oh, they're actually decent. Thomas Tuchel, like you mentioned, did that with Chelsea when Havertz wasn't really firing, Timo Werner wasn't firing. And then all of a sudden, under Thomas Tuchel, they look like good players because new managers come in with a new perspective. So got to be wary of that, but hopefully not for the weekend because I don't think he'll be in the dugout. And we don't need to worry about Manchester United. We're better than them, we'll get the win.